Ooh, that hit was nice. Last week I did that video about the new 2.5 degree of freedom Qubic System Kit, being quite excited from the performance of that model, comparing it with the trade-off system I ran for over 2 years, and despite the suggestion for best experience from the company to set the pivot part in front of the rig, you guys suggested to try and setting it around with the Actuators front, and oh boy, the results are crazy. Being open-minded helped me so much over the years, and once again, listening to your suggestion, I discovered better experience, but let's start from the beginning. It took me probably an hour to switch the front pivot with the Actuators, and as Qubic System software is insanely flexible, I just changed the configuration and hit the track. Let's start with the first effect, which was the low RPMs on the engine, where the car starts shaking like crazy, and see how that feels. I guess we lost like probably 50% of the intensity of the effect, but still feels maybe a little bit more natural because the Actuators doesn't push me from the bottom on the back, but actually the car leans front and the front just jumping like this. I don't know, I think that feels sweet. Now let's move on the track and see the other effects. That's quite different. So let me think about it. That's quite different indeed. Now, I think I lost the sharpness now on the back, but actually I feel the front way better and maybe a little bit more intuitive. But again, all the effects are like by 50% down. But somehow I like how I feel the front end of the car. Let's move on and not bad. Now over that crest, I expected to feel a little bit more on the front, but was again quite subtle effect. Oh, I start feeling something I like a lot. Yep. Wait a second. Now that tire slip angle effect feels so much more natural because it's coming from the front and somehow I start feeling the front end of the car way better going out of the corner, and that's very interesting. But again, I feel like we lost a lot of the overall effects of the shaking, but I'm not sure. Many people say less is more. I think I start feeling more natural right now. It's quite interesting. Yep, that slip angle effect feels so much better now. And going over the curves is way sharper. But on the rear now is way softer. Yeah. Definitely that slip angle effect is way better. But that straight is way softer. Again, the slip angle is crazy. Let's see carousel. Way less shaking on carousel. That's for sure. Oh, driving the car feels so much more natural now. That was sweet. The information now is so much better. Let's see the jump. Way more subtle again. Oh, that was sweet. Woohoo! Maybe because now the front end of the car reacts first and is a bit sharper. Maybe that's the reason the entire driving experience feels a bit more natural and I feel so much more in control. That's very interesting, and I'm not sure if I expected exactly that. Again, the rear feels way softer than the 4 actuators, but somehow getting the right information from the front of the car feels so much better. Now maybe we have to take some GT3 on Sebring, which is super rough track with the 3D curves, and see how that feels. Well, Different car, different track. Let's take a drive and see what we're gonna feel. Even braking and accelerating feels so much different and so much more natural because now the car is leaning from the front, and that makes so much more sense to my brain. So many things are so completely different. Let me put my thoughts together because there are so many things which are totally different. And first is the shifting, which now is coming again from the front, and it feels like a kick from the seat. Is way more subtle, but again it's way more natural. And then hitting curbs, we usually going in the corner hit the curb with the front tire only because of the slip angle of the car around the corner, and now it feels so precise from the front because as soon as I touch the curb, I can feel the front end kicks up. And before was just the feeling coming when the car falls down from the curb. And that last effect on the hard braking zone, activating the ABS, felt so intuitive because all the shake was coming again from my legs. That's crazy. That's crazy. So different. Again. The 3D curves. Wait, let's slow down. Yeah. Everything is more natural, I guess, because what is coming first is the front end of the car. And probably my vision is expecting to feel what is happening in front. While before, with the actuators on the back, everything was coming late, if that makes sense. Let's see here the last corner. Ooh. So much more feeling through the front end. Let's try to do a few laps on pace and see how that feels. Well, the rest is history. I just fall into my driving zone and I got lost in the experience. Lap after lap within 2 tenths with car and track combo I haven't drove for a while in competitive pace, with the last 2 laps within 1/1000th of a second. Everything just fall in place and the feeling of the car become insanely natural. Again, totally different experience with way less shaking, but this time coming from the important direction. Indeed, I lost the heave, but all the other effects from the front end of the rig changed completely my confidence. ABS and tire slip angle effect become insanely natural, and I was getting intuitive information under braking and grip levels on the entry and the exit of the corners. The chassis leaning forward under braking was also more natural experience and shifting effects way better. Yes, I lost the sharpness of the back end and overall strength of the road texture, but I gained that sharpness on the front, which it looks is what I needed more. I'm so glad you suggested that configuration, and even if I lost some cool effects from the setup, I gained intuitive front feedback and more natural experience. But again, if you have that setup, you have to try both configuration and decide for yourself. Don't be lazy, as you may lose something very important. Also, some of you asked if seat mover can be better choice, and now thinking about it, I believe for me personally, feedback from the front end of the rig is way more intuitive and natural. Without a doubt, that will be the configuration I will use from the system, but again, if you have it, you have to test both options. For sure, Actuators front or back is super fun, but I have found my personal preference. And that being said, thank you for the cool ideas, guys. You are the best community in the world.